is happening? Bruce Dickinson finally announced his new solo album, which will be out in early 2024, alongside the first dates for his new solo project. The information we have today is quite limited, but we can already put some pieces of the puzzle together. So first of all, Bruce Dickinson's next journey will be titled The Mandrake Project, will feature his longtime friend and a collaborator Roy Z, and will of course mark the end of the longest break in the history of his solo career, as his previous studio album, Tyranny of Souls, was released all the way back in 2005. But what is the Mandrake Project? Well, while nothing on this earth is impossible, and of course there is a chance that we might have to ask Miss Granger about it.
The properties of the Mandrake root.
Today we're going to
I don't really think Bruce Dickinson's idea is to simply produce a deadly scream on the record. But a rather interesting fact is that Bruce actually already did reference Mandrake once, specifically in 1988. And here is a little example of overthinking things way too much for you. The lyrics of the song Moonchild, which describes a magic ritual, and specifically the line after "Hear the Mandrake Scream," talk about opening the seventh seal. And this upcoming studio record will in fact be the seventh solo album for Bruce Dickinson, just like Seventh Son of a Seventh Son was for Iron Maiden. Moreover, from the promo picture posted online, and more specifically from its background, we can assume that the Mandrake Project might follow the theme of ancient occultism and possibly will finally tell the story of Dr. Necropolis. Overall, from this shot, I get the vibe of this combination of ancient and primitive with futuristic and industrial, possibly because of the lights and shades, which in a nutshell would fit quite well with the original concept for the album Bruce had many years ago, raising the main question of all: whether we will finally get to hear the original version of If Eternity Should Fade, which Bruce and Roy Z originally wrote for this record, yet which after Steve Harris heard it and loved it so much, as we all know, was included on Iron Maiden's The Book of Souls instead. But anyways, talking about that photo, I am actually quite sure, partially because of the information that I have, that that picture we have is actually not the cover artwork for the upcoming record.
What?
In fact, if we take a closer look, there is clearly an industrial sign or a gate or a seal of some sort behind Bruce, which I am sure they deliberately covered almost in full for us to guess what exactly is there.
Yes, that's true.
And so I personally have a feeling that it is that sign which eventually will become the centerpiece for the new album artwork. And given the fact that today also marked an absolutely silent and unnoticed release of Bruce's Tears of the Dragons The Hits compilation album, from its artwork we can kind of at least assume which direction Bruce's mind is currently working in. Anyways, the official statement from Bruce said the following: "This album has been a very personal journey for me, and I'm extremely proud of it. Roy Z and I have been planning, writing, and recording it for years, and I am very excited for people to finally hear it. I'm even more excited at the prospect of getting out on the road with the amazing band that we have put together to be able to bring it to life. We're planning to play as many shows as we can in as many places as possible for as many people as we can. As for what the Mandrake Project actually is, all will be revealed soon."
classic.
So, we all of course knew that Bruce has been working on this project together with Roy Z, but who are the other amazing band members he's talking about? Well, through the magic of Instagram, which, by the way, if you do use but don't follow me, please make sure to change that, because I do actually post quite different type of content over there. But we can assume that for the bass duties, Bruce has invited the amazing bassist Tanya O'Callaghan, whom he toured together with recently, honoring the legendary John Lord. And according to some rumors online, there is also a high chance we will see the Angra drummer Bruno Valverde on a road together with Bruce next year. So the main question which remains is that it? Or may we expect another longtime friend of Bruce to join him on this tour? I personally think there is a very high chance we will see Adrian Smith as a part of this project, especially since a couple of months ago, photographer Ross Halfin did post a picture of Adrian, Bruce, and himself hanging out somewhere which looked very much like a studio in Los Angeles. And since there are no upcoming Smith-Coulson dates announced, there is a high chance Adrian will see it in exactly the same manner as Steve Harris does. You know?
I mean, what else am I going to do on a day off?
The whole part of we are planning to play as many shows as we can, of course, does raise a question: what does that mean for Iron Maiden, and how will Bruce's solo tour affect the future past tour? Well, I think it is safe to assume that Mandrake Project will be released sometimes in February. There are actually only 4 Fridays in February, so there are only 4 possible dates.
Exactly.
And in all fairness, I actually thought that April next year Iron Maiden would be hitting the roads of South America, yet now it seems unrealistic, because I don't think that Bruce would be able to combine both Maiden and solo tours like Steve does. And talking about Steve Harris and British Line, they just announced a UK tour next January, and that means that Iron Maiden can either continue their The Future Past tour through February and March in South and possibly even North America, or they will have to wait until the second half of the year to perform together, which will mark one of the longest touring breaks taken voluntarily by the band. Either way, it looks like it is no coincidence that the announcement of the 2 solo tours were done at this moment, exactly 2 weeks before Iron Maiden will perform at the Power Trip Festival. So who knows, we might be getting the answer to what will the future hold for Iron Maiden very soon. And maybe that's why Bruce did not announce more dates for his solo tour, waiting for Iron Maiden to do so, as we all know that he is actually planning to hit Europe and some other parts of the world as well. Although I'm not quite sure how he will be able to perform in Greece with this new logo, as for those who don't know, the weird looking letters on the new logo are actually just letters from the Greek alphabet, which simply look like letters from the Latin alphabet, yet have nothing in common with them. So many Greeks might not even understand who is coming to perform for them, as in a nutshell, what is written there can be transliterated something like this. But anyways, given how much time it took Bruce Dickinson to finally release this album, I'm 100% sure that he will prepare something absolutely extraordinary for this tour. And I truly hope that I personally and thousands of Ukrainian fans who were holding a ticket to an Iron Maiden show in Kyiv will be able to see this show live. So here, very quick, I just wanted to thank you guys all for the amazing support you are showing to me, this show, and Ukraine through this very difficult time. And please don't forget that the biggest war since World War II is going on right now in the middle of Europe, and there are people dying here every day. And the support of our friends from across the world just means the world to all of us. But either way, I actually don't even think that Bruce Dickinson will settle for just a regular metal concert. In fact, I think that this show might be a part metal show and part a theatrical performance. To, first of all, distinguish the show from Iron Maiden, and secondly, showcase Bruce from his more theatrical side and fully open and present what might very well be a concept record on stage.
Slowly I rise. The walls I build are crumbling away.
Unless Bruce, of course, will decide to invite one American band, for if you don't know, there was actually a band called Mandrake Project in the United States, and they were actually quite popular around the world for some time, although I don't think that their music would fit with the amazingly heavy and dark atmosphere presented to us on those short snippets we already heard. But anyways, this tour will finally give Iron Maiden fans a chance to see Bruce Dickinson and possibly Adrian Smith up very close in a very intimate environment, rather different from a regular Iron Maiden concert. And thus I truly believe that this is a must-see tour for any Iron Maiden and Bruce Dickinson fan. And while we're still waiting for more information about the Mandrake Project, there are 2 amazing outcomes which we can underline right now. First of all, Knowing how nerdy, in a good way, Bruce Dickinson actually is, this new album will definitely give him a chance to leave a lot of little clues and pieces for us to find, and for us to discuss them together as an Iron Maiden family. And secondly, well, Bruce Dickinson now finally has an Instagram account.
Nice.
But anyways, what do you guys personally think and expect from this album? Please let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this short video, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!